You're now listening to the Sacred Soul Podcast. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm so excited to see you here this week. We're going to be talking about something that I think is really relatable to everybody and what we've all kind of experienced. This week, I have found myself seeking more moments of stillness and just rest. I think because I've found myself feeling really uninspired, not really having a clear sense of direction in what I wanted to talk about. Even on today's podcast, I had no idea what I wanted the topic to be about, what I wanted to dive into, because nothing was really sparking for me. I would sit at my desk and think about, what about this topic? What about this? I think people would like to hear about this today. And nothing resonated with me. Nothing resonated with my spirit. And instead of forcing myself to cram and force myself to think of what I wanted to talk about, forcing inspiration, forcing ideas to come, forcing the flow of it, I just agreed to feel uninspired. When you are forcing to be inspired or to have creativity or to think outside the box, when you are forcing that, it's sourcing energy from a space of desperation and also lack. And that doesn't feel good to the body. It's very similar to forcing an orgasm. It's a disservice to everybody because that's not sourced from a pure space of authenticity and flow. So I just agreed to take the path of least resistance. And that's really just the path of low effort, where you're just kind of coasting, letting yourself rest, letting your body reattune, letting yourself move back into a space of harmony and balance where that restoration can call forward a sense of clarity and intuition. And you feel a little bit more put together, like you have some sense of, okay, I know what I need to do next. And in embodying this sense of passiveness, I actually carved out a lot of space to be re-inspired, to have a little bit more direction. And I actually received a beautiful message about the lesson behind feeling uninspired. And it's that our body expresses emotion, it expresses passion in many different ways. And oftentimes we identify this expression through outsourced creativity or external creativity, where I'm showing up and I'm showing my face and I'm doing the thing. And we can feel that, we can receive that. It's more of an active space of servicing others. Even if you are working from a space of passion, we're oftentimes servicing other people because they're going to receive our work, our creativity, etc. And even if you think about the way that we express through intimacy and sex, although it's a deeply spiritual and personal experience, you're still servicing another person. You're still trying to find ways to pleasure another being. We become sort of responsible for making them feel good. And that level of pressure can make it really, really hard for us to be authentic, for us to be in our flow, for us to feel inspired, to feel led, to feel like it's easy to be fully immersed in whatever experience we're stepping into. But there's one very beautiful way that the body craves to express service of the self and expressing that passionate side of who we are in a way that honors our truth. And that is through a more introverted, more personal, more individually intimate experience. And that is rest. Rest is an expression of love. It is an expression of honoring, of listening, of being in alignment, even when you don't feel like you have that direction, even if you don't feel clear, even if you feel out of alignment. That rest will pull you back in because you are giving yourself that reciprocity of attention. The intelligence of our body literally makes no mistakes. Everything that the body does, even with the emotions that it brings forward, it's purposeful, it has value, and there's a lesson in that. And I think if we learn how to commune with the body, which is something that I talk about a lot, we can get to this place of honoring every single emotion, especially these ones that feel so paralyzing. When we feel stuck, we're not having motivation to do anything, we feel like we're lacking something, we don't have inspiration. I think that in and of itself is something that needs to be honored and listened to. Every choice that our body makes is unequivocal. There is no mistake. It is very intentional. And when you feel stuck, you feel stale, you feel unmotivated, uninspired, that is an intelligent choice that the body has produced, that feeling of a means of savoring your energy, savoring your sense of integrity, your truth. Sort of like you think of like if you go bowling and you have the rails up, it's a way to keep us in alignment with moving in a space of integrity, because a lot of times when we're creating and we're sourcing things from passion, because a lot of us work creatively for other people, we can begin to do things out of obligation, and that does not feel good to the body. And so we kind of have to veer ourselves back onto our path so that we're creating from a space of authentic, true self-pleasure. Our body is always trying to protect us. It's always trying to keep us in a space of flow. And when we think about that, we kind of only refer to the physical body. And I think that if we can't see the process of something, especially if it's energetic, if it's spiritual, if it's emotional, we ignore it and we don't know how to flow with that because there's not a clear understanding of this is step one, this is step two. So for example, like if you are walking on the sidewalk and you trip and fall and you scrape your knee and your knee is now bleeding, with or without your mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual consent, your physical body is going to create a scab. It is going to heal that wound because the body knows that that is unhealthy. And if we leave it unattended, it's going to become toxic for the physical body. There's going to be an infection that comes forward. And so with or without our choice, our body chooses to heal itself. And the body does this not only in the physical aspect, it does this emotionally as well. If you are burnt out, if you are overburdened, if you are doing things and sourcing things from lack, from obligation, from needing to prove something to other people, if you're forcing flow, if you're trying to force creativity and authenticity, the energetic body is going to, in a sense, put a scab over that so that you can rest. It's going to produce feelings of inadequacy. It's going to produce feelings of lack, of stalemate, because it's calling you to stay still so that you can be restored. It's the same concept as the physical body creating that scab. If you think about a scab, it's disgusting. It looks gross. We don't like to look at it. It's something that is not pleasing to the eye, and that's equivalent to feeling inadequate. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good in the body. We don't like to be immersed in that essence, but we have to allow that to simmer in and soak that into the body so that we can learn to be restored. Think about a scab. If you keep scraping at the scab, it's gonna have to keep scabbing over and scabbing over until you leave it alone. Same thing, if we're forcing something, we're gonna be in the cyclical pattern of I feel stuck, I'm not creating good content, I'm not creating good ideas, I'm not in my flow, and it's this over and over and over thing until you give your body rest and allow yourself to be in the space of where you're being called. And sometimes that's doing less. That's getting out of the way. It's lowering your expectations. It's really hard to give validity to the things that we can't see. And so when your body is producing these heavier emotions like inadequacy, right? The body is not producing good ideas, you feel inadequate, you feel like you're not meeting your expectations. It's really hard to understand that the body is doing this as a means of healing and protection. The body is realizing that when you're feeling this way, when you're feeling stuck, when you're even feeling lost, the body recognizes that as something that needs to be healed. It realizes then that you need to be restored. And so restoration will come forward. And in order for the body to restore, you need to be doing less. And then going back to the body producing those feelings of inadequacy, it's not because you are inadequate, it's because you are embodying an inadequate amount of energy, an inadequate amount of flow that is needed and required to produce the feeling of inspiration. Maybe you are genuinely just tired and you're doing too much. There is a reason that your body will bring up these feelings, and it's for you. And the sooner that you can agree to feel whatever your body is producing, the sooner that you'll get over those emotions and you'll find yourself feeling in a better place because you've stepped out of the way and you've really allowed yourself to be in reciprocity with the self. I think that we can also end up in this mental space of feeling like we're not good enough, or we don't have the ability to create, we just feel really dry, so to speak. We can feel like this because oftentimes we put too much pressure on ourselves. And then we can actually bring forward mental blockage, creative blockage. And then I think in that space, we add even more pressure because we feel like we have to prove ourselves to something or someone, even if it's just to ourselves. If we set really high expectations, it's hard to jump up there. And I think that we actually can create better work if we lower our expectations, because then we can really be surprised at what we can create, and it allows more ability to be proud of yourself. And I think that's really important, to be proud of yourself and to have moments where you celebrate yourself, especially if you're somebody that has a lot of self-doubt and you have a lot of self-criticism. I think it's really important that you make space for yourself to be celebrated when you have a moment of an accomplishment or you have a good idea that is sourced from pure inspiration. You have those spiritual, emotional, intellectual downloads that you can then share with the world. It's important that you return that sense of gratitude to the physical body for producing that feeling. You did that, your body did that, and it's important to honor that as well. I think we too often only pay attention to the body and give it something when it's embodying something that we don't like. We're feeling angry, we're feeling uninspired, we're feeling like we're not producing good work. We look at the body and we're disappointed. And that even adds more pressure. If we can learn to teach ourselves how to pay attention and look to the body in a sense of gratitude for things that it does right or things that feel good to us, we build that beautiful relationship. And when you have a relationship with your body, it's really easy to just kind of know without the body forcing you to be tired, without the body forcing you to feel inadequate. You kind of already know when you need that rest, when you need to take a step back, when you need to allow yourself space to think. If your body's forcing you to feel like you're burnt out, if your body's forcing you to feel like you need to rest, that means that you're not listening to your body enough. And so you need to build a stronger relationship by paying attention. There is a beauty in being so deeply drenched in your artistry and that feeling of expansiveness and knowing that you're creating something amazing. And even if you're not an artist or not somebody that creates things, this can show up even in your mood. You feel that expansiveness, you feel that sense of gratitude, you're ready to take on the day. There's a beauty in feeling that, but then also equally feeling disconnected from that feeling. Maybe you feel completely disconnected from yourself. You're not understanding what feelings you're embodying. You can't really tap into a certain emotion. There is that feeling of I just feel There's kind of a beauty in that because that mirrors the natural ebb and flow of life. This is normal, this is human, this is good. If you are having lots of this back and forth with your emotions, that means that you are doing something right. It means that you are living. This is what it's supposed to feel like. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong or you could be doing something more. You're not. You're doing everything that you should be doing. The body needs to rest, okay? Our physical body does so much every single day that we need to give ourselves moments of finding the pleasure in resting. I think that oftentimes we try to find pleasure outside of ourselves and, climbing the mountain and going to the mall and buying something and, doing fun, adventurous things, but there is a pleasure in resting. There is a pleasure in honoring the self and communing with the self. It's like you're hanging out with yourself. There is something to find that feels good in that. That's what pleasure means, is to find something that feels good, and that's honestly why we exist. I had this weird vision yesterday when I was meditating. Sometimes I'll go into these deep meditations for mediumship, and I will find myself having visions of just entering into earth. It's sort of like a baby being born, but my vision is that I'm born from the earth, through the dirt, and I'm already an adult, but I'm naked, and I'm in the dirt. And in my vision, and I could feel it in my heart, I'm just touching the dirt and I'm grabbing it and I'm rubbing it onto my body. And there is this sacredness in just literally in just being and just sitting with the dirt, sitting with nature, looking at your plants and having the awareness that your plant is looking back at you. She's always fucking looking at me. I swear to God, this plant, my friend Angela got this for me. Thank you, Angela. And she got me a lot of plants that are in here. I think she got me this one too. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm sorry, Angela. I love you. But I literally can feel my plants looking at me. I remember one time I was doing a meditation for clairsentience, which is the sense of feeling, clear feeling. I opened my eyes. I saw the plant looking at me, and I swear to God, it was talking to me. I came over here, stood in front of it, and I put my hand over it, and I could feel it vibrating. I was honestly freaked out because I realized in this moment that this plant is alive. It's alive and well. It can hear me, what I'm saying to it, and it talks back to me. There's this beautiful reciprocity. I can feel it saying thank you to me when I pour water into it. I was actually scared to touch it. I didn't want to touch it, and I actually ran out of the room. Because sometimes when I do meditations, I act like a little bitch because it's like a very real experience for me that it kind of freaks me out. But my point is that there's a beauty in the simplicity of things. Our body, I feel like we have to feel like we have to be doing so much all the time. You don't have to do too much to be adequate. You don't have to do too much to be inspiring, to inspire others. Think about moments when you're walking in Walmart and you're like having a bad day and some nice, cute old lady gives you a smile. It was through her presence alone that inspired you to have a better day. Inspiration doesn't come from this exaggerated, extroverted sense of, here I am, here's my inspired thought, here's my ideas. A lot of the times it's just allowing yourself to be present, allowing yourself to be well-rested, to be here, not worrying about what you were just doing, not worrying about tomorrow and what's coming, just being here. Feeling comfortable with allowing yourself to feel yourself breathing. Feeling comfortable with being okay if you're in a bad mood, being okay if you're feeling sad. Just means that you're alive. It means that you're alive and well. So feeling uninspired is not for nothing, and it's not something that holds no value. It's a moment to recognize that you are here and that this is real and that you have potential. Being uninspired is sort of like a hub of restoration to cultivate more potential. It's sort of like returning to the soil, knowing that at any point in time, you can return your awareness back to the bloom, but your awareness has to meet both ends of it. I have to realize that I'm a beautiful blooming leaf, but where does that come from? It comes from my ability to be well-rested, to be connected to my roots, to be connected to my intention. If you're feeling burnt out, it's because you're probably not moving with intention. You're probably busy without a purpose. And if you're busy without a purpose that doesn't feel good to the body, and your body's gonna be like, let's try again. Let you take a nap and let's try again in the morning. It's better sometimes to take a step back than to force something that's not there. Because you're sourcing from a space of desperation, you're forcing from a space of emptiness. And so when you create from a space of emptiness, it doesn't really have a lot of meaning to it. Give yourself that space. It is more of a service to you. We are not always called to be in service for other people. For a lot of you, your art is your work. Your poetry is your work. Your creativity is your work. Your dancing, your singing, your pottery, your planting, your gardens, your singing, your performance, right? The things that we have the most passion for a lot of us, it's our work and it's what people see. I feel like we have this duty to serve other people, but we also have to remember that sometimes we might have ourselves, especially if this resonates for you and you're in the service of other people, you might find that you feel more disconnected than the average person who is not servicing others through creativity. You might find that you feel more moments of disconnection, and that's because we're not called to be continuously serving. Sometimes we have to do things just for us, just for yourself. If you're a dancer and you're always dancing and feeling like you have to post a dance video, maybe you should have a moment where you just dance in the shower, where you just dance in your bedroom, where you just dance in the pitch black dark where nobody can see you. To restore that sense of self, that sense of this passion is for me, passion is for you, it's for you. And the reason that we feel sometimes that our passion is inadequate, it's because you're not using it for you in that moment. You're trying to meet everybody else's need to fulfill whatever desire they have. Return it to yourself, create from a space of feeling pleasure in doing that passion for you. It has to feel good for you. If it doesn't feel good for you, it's not gonna feel good for anyone. because energetically that is felt. We have to make space for savoring. We have to make space for sulking and for resting. This is a beautiful act of self-preservation, which also ignites perseverance, the willingness to continue forward. You can't do that if you're like totally drained. So if you find yourself feeling really disconnected, really unmotivated, really like you're lacking inspiration, this is a call to have more grace, to rest. This is a call to do less. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to pull a mini reading for whoever's watching this. So if you want to stay and watch this, this would be for you, and only take what resonates. I know that as a collective reading, this is not going to resonate for everybody. So just kind of keep your mind and heart open. There could be something in here that really resonates for you, and I'm just going to pull advice. And I know that we're talking here in this episode about, you know, feeling uninspired, but I feel like I'm going to leave it open to spirit, to whatever advice they want to offer. So it may not even be about feeling uninspired or about creativity and stuff like that. So this is going to be just kind of an open reading to whoever wants to receive some advice. So we'll just take a second to take a deep breath. Asking spirit to offer any advice and guidance to the collective of people who are going to see this. So it is focused on those who are going to see this portion of the reading only. People who stay to watch the whole thing. See, there's a benefit if you stay and watch the whole thing. Now you got a reading. Okay, let's see what comes through for the collective. First card that just popped out, we have the Five of Pentacles. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's the Five of Pentacles. I feel so sad. I'm like, I feel so sad for you. Five of Pentacles is where we don't see our value. We don't see our worth. So for many of you, you may very well be in a space of not feeling very supported. Maybe some of us are only able to create good work or to create something that feels good to us when people are applauding for us, when people are supporting you. I think for many of us, the Five of Pentacles can really indicate that there are some insecurities coming to the forefront that may feel quite paralyzing to you. But the advice with the Five of Pentacles is that you have a choice here. You have a choice here to stand your ground, to feel like you can show up and blossom in your own way, not relying on anybody else. I think that with the Five of Pentacles, we feel like we have to rely on people to like our content, people to comment on it, people to engage. We have to rely on people to say, oh, you did a great job, or yes, you should do that thing. Instead of relying on what everybody else has to say, rely on your heart, rely on your passion, and return that energy to yourself. Five of Pentacles is really the space of needing to embody more willpower, more strength. Five of Pentacles is, you know, it's our habits, it's our routine. So I think that maybe some of you are actually building a routine on your insecurities. So that is something to pay attention to. If you find that you're creating something and then you have moments where you feel like, ooh, I don't know, people are gonna like this thing that I'm creating, so then you back off. You might find that you have a pattern of doing that. You guys are building a pattern around your insecurities. So remember that you have a choice, and that more than anything, this is asking you to kind of allow yourself to see that there's more for you. Your potential is great. And whatever you're going through right now circumstantially, that is not something that is meant to hold you back. So use it as fuel to move forward. Oh my gosh, the Strength card, look at that. Spirit is looking out for you guys. Strength card energy coming out. This really, oh my gosh, and the Devil, yes bitch. I love the Devil card. I think it's the most powerful card in the whole deck, because if you think about the story of the Devil, he didn't give a shit about nothing. He is gonna do whatever he wants. And I think the Devil energy too really denotes things that society demonizes. And I think in a personal aspect, the Devil card can represent that in your personal life. There could be people, family, friends, society that is making you feel shameful and guilty for the choices and decisions that you're making for yourself. And so Strength energy here, maybe you feel like you're walking the path alone. That's why you feel like you're really unsupported, because you've had to make healthy choices that unchain you from other people's lack of reciprocity in your life. And I think that this is kind of a beautiful reading, because some of you, I feel like it's like half and half. Some of you are like making those healthy choices, cutting people off, in a loving way that honors yourself and your truth, and really starting to devil energy embrace the things that other people don't like in you. The devil energy is like where people reject us. And instead of rejecting yourself, you're saying, fuck no, I'm not gonna reject myself. I'm gonna stand up, even if I feel like the circumstances are against me. I'm gonna be strong and healthy, and I'm gonna walk the path alone because I know I can handle anything. Strength card. I feel like half of you are doing that and the other half of you need to do that. So know that the potential is already there. I think some of you might also be people pleasers, especially with that Five of Pentacles, is where we intentionally belittle ourselves to make other people comfortable because we see that people don't like what we're building for ourselves. Devil energy. Some of you are probably mediums and psychics, and your family demonizes that, or your friends demonize it, or too heavily, like society is demonizing it, and you're internalizing that. So I think that more than anything, you're needing to find that space of, what do I want? What's gonna make me feel good? How do I honor myself? Instead of saying, oh, you don't like this thing that I do, let me hide my tarot cards. Let me hide myself. Let me not talk about my passions in front of this group of people because I know that they're not gonna get me. I think with the devil energy, it's about not needing to prove yourself. So I feel like also some of you, devil energy kind of embodies a little bit of bitterness as well. So be careful that you're not doing things in a way that you're trying to prove your goodness, or you're trying to prove yourself or your strength. I think that that also can be sourced from a space of resentment, and we don't want to source anything from those kind of lower energies, only because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. But we can source things from loving ourselves. And that's what is the most important thing to pay attention to here. Does that make sense? Five of Wands reversed. Pick your battles. Everybody is not going to support you. Everybody's not going to get you. Everybody's not going to resonate with you, and they don't have to, period. Okay? So take that with you. Love yourself. Give yourself rest. Remember that you don't have to do too much. If you feel like you're burnt out, if you feel like you're lacking inspiration, you don't have to overdo it. If we're overexerting ourselves, girl, you don't have to do that. Just relax, rest, return to the self, and I will leave you guys with that. I hope that this helped you. I know it was kind of a shorter episode, but there's not so much that I can say when it comes to rest. You just have to do it. You just got to give yourself that gift. It truly is a gift and a blessing to rest, to be in alignment with your truth. And I hope to see you next week. So have a good day, you guys. Thank you.